Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Galactic Driftwood podcast. Folks, we're going to be talking about a classic, super fantastic movie, one of Seth's top 10.
Oh,
strong words there. Strong words there, Bill.
I was going to say, those are some strong word choices for this movie, Bill.
One of Seth's
then
top
you throw
10.
me
I
under
didn't
the
say
bus
top.
like that.
I didn't say top 10 what? I just said one of Seth's top 10 movies.
All right. Okay.
We're going to be.
And you're saying, like, nah.
And we're going to be talking about that in just a few minutes. But first, this.
Welcome, sentient beings from all known universes and beyond. It's time to activate your cranial downlinks and prepare to receive a raft of discussion on a cosmic ocean of science fiction and fantasy topics, interviews with local area genre devotees, and insightful prognostication by our soothsayers of science fiction, our forecasters of fantasy, and any other beings that happen to get caught in our gravity well. This is the Galactic Driftwood Podcast.
And hello there again. I'm Bill.
I'm Linda.
I'm Seth.
I'm Chris.
And the movie we're going to be talking about today was kind of prompted by the release of a trailer for the new movie coming out, the new Dungeons and Dragons movie starring Chris Pine. And so Seth and Linda and I decided it warranted a watch of, let's see, when did that come out? In 2000, the original Dungeons and Dragons movie. And we subjected ourselves to that for you, the audience. We took one for the team. And so we're going to be talking about that. And again, it's one of Seth's top 10. Would it be fair to say hated or disliked movies?
I was about to say, to be fair to Bill, I have seen this movie previously and had recommended it to the podcast. So this is my fault. I subjected them to this. That is what I will take blame for. Bill, no putting words in my mouth about this being a top 10 anything. Bottom 10, you can definitely locate it at the bottom of whatever barrel you're putting it in, but we're at the top.
I'll jump in here real quick to say that, you know, the film wasn't great, and to put some I didn't bother rewatching it for this podcast, by the way. So I remember most of what I didn't like, and I don't remember anything that I did like. And to put some perspective on that, you know, this film came out in 2000, and short of a sequel I didn't even know that existed, it hasn't been touched in 22 years. You know, so make that of, you know, what you will. Nobody wanted to touch Dungeons and Dragons really after this movie.
Right. Well, and other than who was the evil wizard? The actor's name?
Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons. Yeah. Other than him, no, there was a short
Tom Baker
part in there with Tom Baker from Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
Other than those two, were there, and I mean, they were already kind of established actors, right? So, other than those two, the younger actors that were in it, I don't recall having seen them in anything else. Do you?
Not anything notable, like Justin Whalen. Like I know him as an actor, but no, not really.
Well, and we were curious as we were watching because there's a young actress that plays the Empress of, I think it's Illyria or whatever Izmir. She's the Empress of Izmir, and she seemed like a pretty decent actress or actor.
Thora Birch.
Yeah, Thora Birch in the show, and I'm like, well, I wonder why. I wonder what else she was in that, because I don't recall ever having heard of her before. And so a few Google searches later, and we find out that apparently she was in an off-Broadway revival of Dracula, or was scheduled to be in an off-Broadway revival of Dracula. Shortly after that, sometime around 2010, and her father, who and this is according to ABC News, her father was a former porn star. And he got her fired from it because he threatened one of the actors who, as part of the show, was giving his daughter a back massage. And he went insane, and it said, in what could be a case of fatherly love gone too far, Thora Birch had her stage dreams dashed after she was axed from an off-Broadway revival of Dracula a few weeks before its January 5th opening. Why? Ooh. According to Paul Alexander, Dracula's director, he removed her from the production after her father manager, Jack Birch, threatened another actor. He said Jack Birch objected to another actor rubbing Thora Birch's back during a scene. When the actor who they had declined to name, tried to explain that he had been directed to rub Thora Birch's back by the director, her father said, "Listen, man, I'm trying to make this easier on you. Don't touch her." And they interpreted that as a threat, and as a result, she was removed, and the understudy was then put in that role. So, yeah. And the guy says, the director says about her father. So there's Thora Birch. So the director said, "Have you seen this guy? He looks a bit like Freddy Krueger with sunglasses, which he never takes off, by the way." So you've got this dude who looks like a bodybuilder standing there on stage saying, "I'm trying to make this easy on you." How else do you interpret that but a threat?
Right.
And yeah, I can see that. So, but anyway, yeah, it was kind of interesting. So, you never know when you see these actors in a show what the future is, and you run into some bizarre stuff when you start doing searches on that kind of thing. But Seth, maybe you want to jump into this here and just kind of give us a high-level synopsis of the movie, and then we can kind of comment as you go through.
A synopsis of the movie. Okay. I don't think anyone needs a spoiler warning for this. I can't. If you haven't seen it, it's not. I don't know if it'll improve your life to go see it. So, spoiler warning.
It's from
if you
2000.
want the pristine experience of watching Dungeons and Dragons 2000 for yourself, turn or maybe skip a while ahead. I don't know. So we start off in the fantasy world or fantasy king empire of Izmir, in a dark and scary dungeon where robed figures are doing weird magic things. Looks like they're charging some sort of scepter, and then Jeremy Irons comes in, chewing the scenery the whole time. Gruden grabs this scepter they're charging, and he tries to use it to control a dragon, and he fails. So that's how we open up. Nothing was good. We get some bad CGI just right out the gate. And that I don't know if Jeremy Irons didn't give a shit for this movie or had a fantastic time.
I think he had a fantastic time. I think he loves roles like these, regardless of how well the script is run. I think he thoroughly enjoys these types of roles.
He was just over the top at 120% all the time. And I guess what made it really weird was just the mediocre mix. Yeah, that face right there. No human being makes that face.
I mean, that was kind of his energy level for the whole show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he probably had more fun on set than anyone else, and
Yeah,
that probably
no doubt.
pissed everyone else off.
If they would have handed him a baby for this role and said, look, the audience isn't going to buy your really evil unless you eat this baby, just like right now, he probably would have just started.
Yeah, right.
He was fun, I will say, but in a cringe way. Anyway, on with the plot. He's Profion, some person in some sort of noble mage in the Empire of Izmir, where mages rule and the commoners drool, and all of the Imperial Senate never wants this to change, but the young childlike Empress does want it to change, and she's gonna make it happen because she's got a rod that controls dragons, which is what Profion is after. He wants a rod of his own to control dragons, or he wants to get her rod so that he can take over and rule the Mage Empire. And down in the commoner area, we have Ridley Freeborn, which I will admit is a very D&D name. Like that's your first character.
Right.
Fighter Ridley Freeborn. In which case, this is actually would have been the rogue Ridley Freeborn, but and his friend Snails, who's in Ridley Freeborn and Snails, who's in the middle. Ridley is in the wake of an accident over at the Magic Castle. Ridley decides now's the perfect time for them to go and steal from the Magic Academy because there won't be any guards. So they go and do that, and they get wrapped up in a quest with the mage, who's the girl in the picture there.
And I will jump in here and talk about the mage, who is the only mage I've ever seen that just never does magic.
Yeah. She casts 3 spells. 2 of them are targeted at the good guys in the beginning.
Yeah. Right. It's like all these disasters are happening. The horrible things are happening to the entire party. And all she kind of does is run around and scream. She just doesn't. She's a magic caster that doesn't cast magic. It's like she belongs on the island of misfit D&D players.
I mean, most of the mages were like that, and I'm pretty sure it's because they didn't have the special effects budget to do many spells.
That could be.
Because if you remember in the final fight, or in the final battle, or when he's fighting, or Jeremy Irons is fighting Ridley, Ridley attacks him with a sword, and he summons his magic staff and just like bats aside the sword for a few seconds, and then knocks the sword out of his hands, and then he throws away the staff.
Yeah, right. Because God forbid we would have to generate some special effects from the use of that staff.
And there was only one offensive spell that was ever cast in any of the fights, and it's that lightning spell. Like, that's the only thing these guys would use. It's like their magic taser spell. There was a scene where they shoot fireballs at dragons, but they all miss. These mages suck. Why are they in charge?
What I don't get is why there was such a lack of budget where they couldn't make any kind of special effects happen. I mean, this is the year 2000. You know, not breakneck.
This is well after 1976 Star Wars came out.
Right. So why was it so expensive? Like why couldn't you have any kind of budget to do it? We've already had, some movies that were almost purely CGI, like Dragonheart was a few years before that.
Yeah.
And that did well. You had a lot of movies involving dragons kind of in the 90s. And then you had Dungeons and Dragons, which was supposed to be maybe the pinnacle. They made it all about dragons, and then they did really nothing with the film. And it pisses me off that it just kind of it put that genre, in my opinion, in this kind of slump. It was just like, all right, we've hit peak already. There's no point. It's all garbage from here on out.
I kind of got the impression that the whole point of the film, they were trying to capitalize on the notoriety of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Put as little into the movie as possible so that they could take as much out of the box office as a profit as they could. And
which is unfortunate because they
yeah.
could have done so much more.
Yeah, there's Blue Lips. What's his name? Dagobah? No, that's the planet.
Dagobah.
Yeah, and he's got some sort of snake creatures in his ears, which Jeremy Irons put there because he failed him early on in the show. So as a punishment, he gave him these snake ears things, which he can then use to attach to someone else's ears and suck out their thoughts, which actually have some physicality to them because we see them pulsing down the snake-like tendrils there into this guy's head, like he's sucking the physical manifestation of her thoughts out of her brain. That was kind of strange. I could see electrical energy, but a physical bulge going through the pipe representing her thoughts would not be something I would expect.
Yeah. So you pointed out the things in his ears.
Yeah.
And as the movie goes along, like his ears keep getting redder, and like at first it just looks like they're infected, and that's bad and painful.
Mm-hmm.
But they, instead of adding different effects to make them look worse, they just keep making them redder and redder and redder until it looks like at the beginning of every scene someone just came by with a can of red spray paint and went
yeah.
Like, it didn't look like, at first it looked pretty believable, but then they were just like, I don't know how to make this look worse. Make it redder. Redder and redder and redder.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the plot basically revolves around the Mage Senate wants the innocent Empress to give them her dragon controlling scepter, which they can apparently vote to do. And so she thinks, okay, I can follow the law and give them my dragon controlling scepter if I just had this other dragon controlling scepter. And that's what these guys are going to go and find, is this red dragon controlling scepter to counter the other dragon controlling scepter so that she can stay in power and bring the commoners and make the mages and the commoners equal.
Couldn't the Mage Senate have just asked for the other scepter as well then?
You would think. That this movie is made of plot holes.
Yeah.
But
well, what was your favorite scene, Seth?
Oh, when snails died.
Ding, 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 ding.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I would easily say he was the most irritating character in the movie.
He wouldn't shut up.
Well,
and I think that was part of the thing, is they were like, well, let's just put in a comedian that's kind of hot right now and just interject him into the movie with really no point other than, hey, I just want you to ad-lib and fill in some gaps here where our script is lacking and just say some shit, you know?
Yeah. And Seth had a good point last night as we were watching it. He goes, this guy's character sheet had to be all 8s.
I just about made Chris spit there.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right, Chris, in that I was just thinking right before you said that like this is not a movie that Marlon Wayans belongs in.
Right.
Because they were taking themselves very, very seriously.
Right.
It wasn't like in The Fifth Element where things were already a little bit cheesy, but like the heroes here were like, gotta take ourselves really, really seriously, even while Jeremy Irons is over there just like gnawing on a baby leg because they told him to be more evil. It's like somehow they mismatched the tone so badly.
Yeah.
So there's a scene kind of in the first hour or so in the movie, I remember where they're in a market or something, and they're talking with this purple-headed dude. With the
Xevious.
Cyclops. Yeah, that was
Oh yeah.
weird.
The acting
yeah.
choice for that was very strong, very bold acting choice.
Yeah, so there's weird scenes in there where they had stuff trying to get you more to see that this is kind of an interesting world, but it all kind of fell flat on its face. I didn't enjoy most of it.
Well, like a lot. So
Any of it.
Dungeons and Dragons wasn't really popular in the late 90s. Like it was, kind of underground nerd popular, but it didn't have it had notoriety from the Satanic Panic in the 80s, where kids might have remembered it being, oh, it's a bad game. It's devils and real magic. But
Yeah.
So this wasn't a property I don't think they felt they had to treat with much respect. And Wizards of the Coast might not have, or I don't even know if Wizards of the Coast would have taken it yet. But yeah, it wasn't a hot property that had to be well managed. So I think that's right. This was a cash grab.
Yeah, I think it's fair to point out that it was likely a cash grab, and it was a project that deserved someone who actually was more involved into it, or maybe
Who had ever played a game before, maybe.
Yeah, and so I feel like this is easy. There's so many dragon movies that have been out. We'll just throw into this fantasy world. You want some elves, some magic. We'll get Jeremy Irons to play an evil sorcerer, and we'll call that good. And it was just kind of garbage. It deserves someone who actually kind of respected it a little bit to take care of the film. And you know what? And maybe there was. Maybe this was all just pure amateurish. Somebody just out there like, hey, I got a couple mil, let's do this, and didn't do it any justice. So
I kind of think that's what it was. Like, whoever wrote this didn't care much about the Dungeons and Dragons, the system, the setting, anything.
Yeah.
And, one of the ways I know is because in one of
that breastplate.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that is 1,000% a breastplate that a DM would have given a female character around this time and been like, yeah, it's +5 and gives you dex and a bonus to charisma. So for listeners, there's a character, an elf ranger, whose name I cannot remember, and it did not matter.
Exactly.
But the elf ranger tracker was the hot character in the movie, and they gave her
a breastplate.
Kristen Wilson played
it is
Morda.
It is a breastplate in every sense of the word, but I think it's more like a torso plate, because it's made to conform perfectly to idealized female standards. There's even a little line. So this armor is boob armor and with nipples. Boob armor with nipples. And then it's crafted to basically look like a naked female torso. And it's just that is D&D cringe right there.
Yes.
Yeah. But I don't feel like they did that as a reference to anything. They were just like, yeah, we're going to get some faux nudity in here and make the boys happy.
And to be clear, if that was a full plate, it offers no flexibility whatsoever.
No.
Right. It's completely worthless armor.
A sword could get caught in that belly button.
Yeah.
The sword would just get caught in the belly button, and if you pushed hard, it would just go right through that. That's no one would design armor like this.
No,
ever, anywhere. The chainmail bikini is actually better armor than this.
Oh, funny.
But it is an attention getter.
Yes, something that someone who wants to be stealthy and track people wouldn't want.
Right. And we can also say that for an elf that's supposed to have great perception and the stealth and all of that kind of stuff, she was constantly surprised when the enemy army would show up.
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, they would just show up and it'd be like, oh my God, where'd these guys come from?
Yeah, they do that to everyone. They like surprise the Thieves Guild in their own home, just like, hi, we were here and you didn't notice us. It's a surprise to everyone. Ha ha ha.
Yeah. They just walk in right into the center of the thieves' den. Like they had no lookouts. They could see these guys coming. It's like 20 guys in armor with swords and
Yep.
Yeah.
So, there's one point in the movie. Oh yeah, right here. This is how I know that whoever wrote this like skimmed a D&D manual and didn't think anything else of it, because they like have a beholder here, and if you've ever run into a beholder in D&D, you know you're about to crap your pants,
right?
Because that's bad news. They're one of the scariest monsters in D&D that isn't an epic level thing.
Right, and this one was kind of employed as a guard dog, essentially.
Yeah, it was an easily fooled guard dog. He threw a stone and distracted the beholder.
I mean,
I
thought I was watching
the back of its head.
Yeah,
I thought I was watching Big Trouble in Little China there, because they have the same little eye guy running around in that film, and I think that looked better, and that was 1986. So
yeah, but
cringe on the graphics, guys.
That's how I know whoever wrote the script didn't know jack about D&D.
Right. But now, on a positive note, the trailer for the new D&D movie is out, right? So Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. It's got Chris Pine as one of the characters in it. And a few of the actors, I can't think of their names right now, but I've seen them in other stuff. They're good actors. And the trailer for it looks really awesome. So I think we're finally going to be getting a Dungeons and Dragons movie that's going to be worthy and hopefully very popular, that people will like it and get out there and see it, and maybe even make the game more popular for folks. Maybe people who haven't gotten into it before might take some interest now. What do you think?
I think if they realize it is a game they can play, because it looks like it is for me. It's a little disappointing in that they're going straight fantasy movie kind of thing, as opposed to something more meta, like kind of like a Princess Bride type movie, where the movie is the players around the table, and then the characters are doing what they say, kind of like Princess Bride or Jumanji kind of thing.
Yep.
Like, I think that would I think that would have made for a really good and a better D&D adaptation. But it looks like we're going to get a solid fantasy movie.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that. I would like to see some kind of adaptation where we have the drama built up a lot like what they did in the last season of Stranger Things, where they had a parallel to the kids playing the game and things going on in real life, and the suspense built around this is the role you need to make a critical role to destroy the god, and then you have or whatever they're fighting. And I agree with Seth. It'd be kind of cool to see an approach like that to it, and maybe we could still get one in the future. I don't know. So we got a few people here. Let me grab the cast members' names because there's a lot of them. Chris Pine was mentioned, Michelle Rodriguez, Regé-Jean Page, Justice Smith, Sophia Lillis, Hugh Grant. I think he plays the evil sorcerer in this.
He looks like he's having fun.
Yeah, and a few other actors as well, some less known, but definitely some good talent in here, I think. So it should be pretty good, I think. I'm excited for it because it does look like they didn't waste money on special effects.
Right. When's that come out? I thought it was like November. Is that right?
2023.
Oh, okay.
Next year.
I must be thinking of something else. All right. Well, cool. Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Well, any last thoughts? We're at our 30-minute mark here. We probably just start wrapping it up. Any last thoughts? Would you, Seth, recommend people watch the original Dungeons and Dragons movie?
Not unless you know what you're getting into. This is a bad movie.
Watch it with alcohol and with an
expectations.
intent to make fun of it.
Yeah, if you're gonna MST3K movie, this is a good one to MST3K.
Yeah,
there's not much redeeming in it aside from hey, it's on. This was definitely their okayest attempt at a movie.
Chris, what'd you think?
So for me, total garbage. I can give you some alternatives. I said earlier, I think Knights of Badassdom was a better movie. I think Your Highness with James Franco was a better movie. I think there's a lot of other seemingly, B movies out there, maybe even C, that are even better than Dungeons and Dragons and are still kind of get you that fantasy effect of some kind of adventure and magic involved and all that kind of stuff. So find something else.
Yeah,
all right.
But go see the new one for sure.
Yeah.
Linda,
on the bad movie scale, like this is under the core.
All right,
The
Linda,
Core is
like
a
that
movie
movie.
I like because of its badness. It's bad in a way that makes me happy. Dungeons and Dragons is bad in a way that didn't really make me happy.
okay, Linda, what were your thoughts?
I thought it was worth it just to watch Jeremy Irons overact. But
he's the only reason to watch. Okay, fairness.
Yeah.
He's the only reason to watch the movie.
Yeah,
He's the only one that's alive in the movie. Okay,
Yeah, right.
If you want to see Jeremy Irons having an absolutely wonderful time just chewing on the scenery, then yeah.
right, that's it.
better
Possibly-
than him in the Die Hard 2 movie.
Oh,
So like he's really good in this.
All right.
No, he was Die Hard 3, I thought.
Die Hard 3, whichever one
why the Die Hard?
with Avengers. Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. My bad. 2 was the airport.
Right. All right. Well, yeah, I agree with everything all three of you said on that. So, yeah. So, if you're really bored on a Saturday night and you want something that's going to make you laugh, and maybe you've got some spare booze that you want to get rid of, or
and it's on TV, and you're just too drunk to pick up the remote to turn it away.
I will add, you can find it on YouTube. Just do a search.
or Seth, do you think it would be better with edibles?
Why are you asking
Experiment
that?
yet to be tested.
Why would you ask that?
We should have a separate segment. Is it better with edibles?
Oh, Chris, I like that. I like that. All right.
That does sound fun. I'm game.
All right.
All right.
Sounds good. All right, folks. Well, thanks for tuning in. We hope if you feel up to it, you'll check out the original Dungeons and Dragons and let us know what you think about it if you agree with our assessment. And tune into the show next time. It's going to be a fun show. I think we're going to possibly have Mark. No, he can't make it. Well, he can't make it, but we're going to be talking about Magic the Gathering. We've got some information on that, and so tune in, check it out, find out what's going on. We will catch you all next time. Take care.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Galactic Driftwood podcast. For more information and past episodes, please visit our website at galacticdriftwood.space or subscribe to us on YouTube. And now, please deactivate your cranial downlinks, collect your towels, and be sure to watch your step as you exit our gravity well.